What's up, everyone? This is Medical Device Matt. Super excited for today's guest, Wong, who's here, who has a really interesting story. We met an undergraduate. He was part of Stroke Force, which was this awesome group that was involved in taking care of stroke patients and enrolling them in clinical studies at Ronald Reagan. At that time, he was considering medicine and then eventually went to medical school. But after a year, and he'll share his story, made a decision. So I want everyone to welcome Derek. We're really excited to have you. So can you tell us a little bit about your undergrad experience and how you ended up choosing medicine as your first career?
Yeah, for sure. No, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. So I was at UCLA for undergrad, and that's where we met. And I knew that I wanted to do something in the health field. Like I just really cared about patient care and enjoyed that, but didn't know what. And so then that's when I tried to insert myself into different pre-med clubs and just different health clubs to get exposure. And that's where we met, Stroke Force. And I didn't know what I wanted to do all throughout college, but it just kind of kept plugging along. And so what I ended up doing was, let me just study as hard as I can and get the best grades that I can. Let me be involved in different health clubs. And at the end of graduation, I still didn't know. And so I felt like, okay, I'm not sure what I want to do. I want to do something in the health field. Let me just take the MCAT. And so I took the MCAT, I scored high enough, so I was like, okay, let me just apply to med school and we'll see what happens. And then I got into a couple schools, and one of them gave me a half tuition scholarship, and that was a private MD school in Michigan. So that made it pretty clear, like, okay, I'm gonna follow the money, I'm gonna go there. And I enjoyed it. I was there for a year and it was a good time. But I think early on, I knew like, this is not what I want to do. This is not my passion. I think I loved medicine and everything that came with being a doctor, but didn't love it enough where I was willing to mortgage my whole life and sacrifice my whole life for this because I had other things that were important to me. And so during that time, it was a really hard time because I felt like a lot of shame and embarrassment for thinking about quitting and stepping away. And so that was like a really difficult time. I felt like I was just kind of following the current though. Like, I got the grades, so let me take the MCAT. I got the MCAT scores, so let me apply. I got money, so let me go. But there was never a moment of like, okay, I really, really want this and love this until I was there. And it was just like, okay, I don't know if I truly love this.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing. I know that's a really personal story. We got to break this down a little bit. So, Derek, at UCLA, you were a top student. You were involved in some of the best pre-med clubs, along many of our colleagues who went into medicine. But looking at your first year at MD, what experiences helped you realize that this path wasn't for you?
Yeah, I think it was just being there and being inundated in it and feeling like this takes so much time and requires such a big sacrifice. And do I love this enough in order to give my life for this? And really doing soul searching and realizing like, I don't love this enough.
Yeah, I think that's really tough. I think looking at, high school, college, there's a lot of exposure to the main, noble professions,
Right.
Law, medicine, some of the white collar accounting jobs, firefighting, but you don't get exposure to all these other roles and these really fulfilling careers you could have. So during your first year, it sounds like, you loved medicine, you wanted to be involved in some capacity, but maybe becoming a physician wasn't for you. So what came first, those feelings and then looking for possible other career paths? Or did you get a taste of something else that maybe encouraged you to say, hey, medicine was fantastic, I enjoyed my year here, but I'm going to pursue this new career opportunity?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was the former. So it was, I'm feeling dissatisfied with this. I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I have it in me to spend the next 12 years in school and in training and then to start at the bottom of the ladder, even though it's a high ladder, it's medicine, it's prestigious, it's what everyone wants. But I was feeling those stirrings of discontentment. And so then I took a year off and I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I started soul searching. I put everything back on the table. Should I go to do accounting? Should I be an engineer? Should I be a teacher? Should I go be a pastor? Should I do a different healthcare profession? And I just didn't know. Like you said, I feel like my understanding of the health fields and potential career options were so limited. I really didn't know what was out there except dentist, physical therapist, doctor. And so then I started searching.
I think that's really awesome. And partly why I wanted you on this podcast is there's so many great professions outside of medicine. Medicine's an awesome profession, and a lot of people feel called. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing this really personal experience, because I know the feelings you had after a year to yourself. You meant, shame and talking to your family and friends. But during your year off, it sounds like you found yourself, your why, and what you wanted to do. So what happened during your year off? And is it during that time, disclaimer, Derek works at medical device. So in that year off, what happened and how did you stumble upon medical device?
Yeah. So in that year off, I'm like shadowing a ton of different people. I'm spending time with engineers at Edwards. I'm spending time shadowing different healthcare professions. And then I stumbled upon you again via LinkedIn. And I saw what you were doing. Obviously, we were friends at UCLA, and so we were connected that way. And I looked back at our old messaging. I messaged you on Facebook, and I said, hey, this is what's happening with my life. I see this is what you're doing. It sounds really interesting to me from what I have done a little bit of research on. Can you tell me more about it? And then you and I chatted on the phone. You told me all about, at the time you were with Pacemakers, with Medtronic. It sounded so exciting to me. It sounded like everything that I wanted, being able to start working right away, being able to work in the healthcare field, working in a patient care setting, working with physicians, being a part of the heart team. And then I thought the devices were just so incredible, like just incredible technology, fascinating. And so then I was locked in. And I was like, okay, this is what I want. I came and shadowed you and was able to actually see, this is a day in the life. This is what it looks like. This is what my life would be like. And then it was just like grinding, trying to get that job. And it took me about a year to get it. But then I knew that was what I wanted once we connected and I saw it, and then just pursued it.
Yeah, so a lot of people reach out to you and I about how to break into medical device. And I think we're doing a good job. We have done, Zoom calls where we gave exposure. But just hearing you, there's a couple of things I want to point out. It took you a year to get a job. It's hard to break in, but now you're excelling. And it's been 6 years, 5 years?
Yeah, 6.5 years. Yeah.
You did a really good job of networking, right? You used LinkedIn or Facebook. Now UCLA has their own dedicated social networking, like other colleges, to connect with alumni. And that's the biggest thing, is people want to help, and you need to reach out on these sites, right? So you reached out to me. What was even more awesome was you were able to shadow in clinic.
Yep.
So you saw us check devices, work with patients and the physicians. I think today, post-COVID, it might be hard with credentialing to get into the surgeries or the clinic.
Right.
But Medtronic Academy or the different industry sites have ways to learn about the pacing or other device roles. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm trying to post content for day in the life to give exposure, because I think for you, that shadowing, obviously we talked, we were enthusiastic, but shadowing, you're like, oh shit, like this is cool. I am working with patients. I am working with the physicians.
Yeah.
They're asking Matt his opinion on the device and how to program. Like, that is really cool. So now, 6 years, you made a transition, but I want to talk about the last 6 years. You stuck with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a fantastic person. Is it hitting what you wanted in a career as you look to start a family, climb a career path and whatnot?
Yeah. I'll be 100 with you. I'll give you the good and the bad. In summary, in short, I love it. Like I'm super happy. I feel very fulfilled. I love the career. I love working with doctors. I love working with patients. I love the technology. I think it's exciting. It's groundbreaking. It's innovative. It's game changing. And so I think I love all that. And then I love that I've been able to have my life. Yeah. I was able to stay in Southern California, which is where my family I was able to be active in the church. I'm playing sports multiple times throughout the week. Like, I'm able just to enjoy my life. I've been able to travel, to buy a car, to buy a home, like to have all these things, to be able to get married and have the time for it.
And I just want to point out, a couple of my friends, all my roommates went into medicine, and they're loving it, and they're going to come out into attending in a year or two and make a lot of money, but more importantly, impact a lot of patients. But the last 8 to 12 years, they've been studying. They've survived COVID, where they were asked to step up when resources were low. And some of the things you mentioned, they have delayed, right?
Right.
Buying a house, buying cars, being able to travel, because during residency, you have to get trained. This is your time to get exposure to all these things. So I just want to point out the converse, which is you've had the ability to, be a part of your church, play sports, travel, take time and find the love of your life, and now get married. So all great things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a ton of respect for physicians because they're like, they grind and you like give yourself to that. And it's such a noble profession and like good doctors are needed. And I didn't have it in me. Like I respect everyone that went through the process. Like it's such a grueling 10 to 12 years. But I'm thankful for my time that like I've been able to have the time back that I wouldn't have had if I was in medicine to be able to live my life. It's great. I love the career. I think the converse is like, the doctor is the guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. They deserve it. But then we're not, And so like, if you want autonomy and ultimate responsibility and decision making, the world doesn't revolve around the device rep. We're there to
100%
be an auxiliary service and helper to the physician. So to that end, like, if you're looking to make the most money or to have like, to be the guy, be the captain of the ship, like that's not our job in relation to the physician.
100%. And I mean, sometimes we're glorified caterers, right?
Exactly.
The doctor asks us to bring in lunch, or in these cases for what you do now or pacing, we would just open product, tell a couple jokes to the lab, make sure everyone's excited for the physician to come in and out. But sometimes physicians and clinics do look to you to be that trusted advisor and help them through the procedure or programming the device or follow-up. So those do feel really good.
Totally.
But we are not the big dog.
Correct.
And you have to kind of be that chameleon as you work with such diverse personalities. Outside of what you do for medical device, is there a way where you feel like the big dog or you get that fulfillment or anything?
Yeah, I think I think just understanding like it's a humble. I think at times it can be humbling being in the job, and I think that's good though because I think like people and myself especially can gravitate towards like power and wanting that, and I think just being able to be humble and understand like my place has been really good with this job to understand like, hey, like I don't need this, and like my worth or my identity is not tied to what other people think of me ultimately. Like it's about what my loved ones think of me and what I think of myself. And so I think like, yeah, like there's settings to be able to be the guy, but ultimately like, this job has really like humbled me and helped me understand like, okay, my worth is not in those things that maybe the world says.
Yeah. Truly, it seems like you could have done medicine. You're one of the sharpest guys I know. But now, you're doing really well in your career. Yet, like I said, you're a leader at your church. You're a leader in your marriage. You're able to play sports and be with friends and be, the guy in all these different aspects of life. And when we look at, what makes a human, it's not just your career. It's, where you find fulfillment and passion and all this. So people looking to break into medical device, but even more niche, people that are studying pre-med, be it a freshman to a senior that are on the fence, what are your thoughts? What are your suggestions so I'm trying to figure out, I'm a junior, all my friends are pre-med because that's what we just all talked about doing since year one. We're going to do, these classes, we're going to take these professors, we're going to be a part of EMRA, emergency medicine, we're going to do stroke force, we're going to do these, clinical clubs where you're working with patients or doctors. We're going to research in the lab to gear our resume to hit all the facets for medicine, and then we got to go hit the MCAT. For those people that are, I would say, are following the path and putting themselves in positions to win, how do they answer the really hard question that you answered about, what do I want to do and what does life mean to me?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't know if I have like the ultimate answer for everyone, so I'll do my best. Yeah, I think firstly, like to continue pursuing excellence and being the best at whatever you're doing. So put your head down and be the best. And then I think also like trying to take a step back and have the self-awareness and reflection to be able to prioritize and understand your values. This is what I want for my life. This is what's most important to me. And then trying to put all the puzzle pieces together of like, okay, this is what I value. This is what I want. And so what would be a good career that fits in and aligns with me as a person and what I'm aiming to do with my life and my life's purpose.
Yeah, and that's really difficult. I think that takes time, it takes maturity, it takes experiences. We have mentors we talk to, but I think for me, I need to have experience and learning to get to those hard questions.
Right. I think it really is kind of like you don't know what you don't know. So like in undergrad, like you really just don't know all the career fields that are out there. And so I think like when we were in undergrad, we didn't have a resource like this that is showing us a really good day in the life and picture into this is what life in a career in medical device industry is like, because I had no idea this industry existed until post grad when we reconnected. But I think like really trying to put yourself in positions to see what else is out there will give you a broader perspective of like, these are my options.
Yeah. And just a little plug, Derek and I do Zoom calls in the fall talking about medical device and the potential career paths. There's career counselors at all colleges to help advise you.
Yep.
But I think for us, where we have learned so much about possible careers is the STEM, science, tech, engineering, math nights, where they bring in professionals in all different industries that want to give back, especially to their alumni, and talk about their careers. And that's really special. And what we're doing on YouTube and Medical Device Med, I think there's a big need to provide exposure for these really awesome careers that can hit different buckets for certain people. I really appreciate your story. To wrap this up, my final question is, looking at your career progression, you have had a lot of success in medical device. It's been 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
This is a two-part question. Is it hitting, now that we're 5 or 6 years out, is it what you wanted?
Yeah.
And looking as you model your career going forward, there's many different possibilities. I don't know if you consider this, but leadership, in-house marketing, as your life changes and your needs, will medical device be able to suffice that?
Yeah. So to answer the first question, I can say so much. In short, I love the field. I love the career. I'm very satisfied. I feel fulfilled. I'm grateful and blessed to be able to be here. I think I enjoy working with physicians. I enjoy the patient care aspect. I enjoy the technology. I enjoy being a part of the heart team. It's everything that I wanted. So I feel very grateful. Yeah, and that's something that I didn't even know when I first started. I first started with Medtronic pacemakers. I was a clinical specialist in the field. And I didn't know like that there's a whole ocean of opportunities and many different pathways that I could go down. Not only with Medtronic pacemakers, there's so many different routes for progression, but then you could change companies. You could do a different device, right? So now I'm with Edwards and I'm doing structural heart. And even within that, I'm doing one of the valves, right? But there's other valves and there's replacement and there's repair. Like there's so many different opportunities to stay in the field, to go into sales, to go in-house. And so that's something that I didn't know about that I feel so excited about, is that the medical device field provides you with so many different opportunities to be able to do whatever you want with your career. So if you don't want to travel, you want to be more in-house, you do want to get into sales, you can do that. And so that way you're not statically stuck and stagnant with like, this is your one trajectory, your one path. There's so many different pathways. And I think even now, 6 years in, there's pathways that I don't even know about, and I don't know where my career is going to take me. Like I didn't know it was going to be here at Edwards 6 years later, but here we are.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I've been in the field 9-10 years, and I know there's a lot of amazing opportunities at many different companies, internal, be it marketing, research, regulatory affairs, and we hope to bring those leaders on this podcast so I could learn more about them as possible career paths. I'm really excited that you came on and share your very personal story. Your story is going to resonate with a lot of people. I think there's a lot of undergraduates or even first or second years in medicine that are, had the same feelings that you're having, but haven't admitted it. So I want to thank you so much for coming on Medical Device Matt. Everyone, thank you for watching and listening. Derek, what's the best way to find you if we wanted to connect with you after this?
Yeah, I think just like feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, shoot a message. I'm happy to have phone calls and be able to have further conversation.
Awesome. Medical Device Matt says thank you. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you, bro.